G20 in the year of the presidency. So great to be here for that. Now, India's presidency, I think, symbolizes really the age of, borrow from the topic, globalization, and this really represents the convergence of a number of themes from the West and the East. It also represents the changing world order and India's place creating a bridge between the global north and the global south. And India is well positioned in between both being kind of a developing country as well as the fastest growing economy in the world. G20, and of course Amitabh will tell us more about it, is a very unique grouping, even at the cost of being a little politically incorrect. I think it has really surpassed the G7 in terms of the influence that it brings to bear now, in terms of its relevance and its footprint. And why is that so? Firstly, it represents 85% of global GDP. It represents 75% of global trade and over two-thirds of global population. So just these three numbers should give you a sense of the impact that this group has. Formed after 1999, gathering more momentum after the financial crisis, it has really grown from strength to strength. India's presidency really provides India with a unique opportunity to steer a very powerful and multilateral form of global governance. Uh, Critical challenges that the world is facing are all global in character, whether it's uh, the situation in Europe, whether it's climate change, heading towards possibly a global recession. These are all global themes, and I think it requires global governance to deal with it. Multilateralism is on a decline, and I think the Prime Minister also said that in the Foreign Minister's address yesterday. But more importantly, we saw that also in terms of how the world did with COVID or was unable to prevent the Ukraine war. These are examples really of multilateralism either having failed or is on the decline. So there is a big case to be made for strengthening multilateralism, and I think there's no better institution in today's times than the G20. So India's presidency is an opportunity to revive multilateralism, and it can really steer empowerment of really an alternative form of global governance. And I think it's India's pride that it has been chosen to lead the G20 in this year. And it's part of a troika. Last year it was Indonesia, next year it will be Brazil. So three emerging economies, one after the other, I think represent there is a signal there in terms of the changing global order. I also like what Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister, said in terms of some of the other global institutions like the UN, that the stakeholders and shareholders have changed, but the management has not. I mean, you're taking a kind of a corporate analogy in terms of where the entire body of shareholders may have changed, but the management is still the same. It kind of raises the question of do we need another form and what that body would be. And I think G20 is certainly part of the answer. Um, also being a little politically incorrect, I think global governance is skewed in favor of developed economies. They have disproportionate influence. And that adversely affects the ability of global governance to the global south and to some extent even the global east. And India can use this moment to rethink this and at least plant the seeds. No change like of this magnitude happens overnight, so it's a journey. And as we come to the end, my last question to Amitabh is going to be, what should India's G20 year be remembered for? And in terms of the legacy we kind of left behind. So the priorities, as have already been spelled out by him in some of his comments and also by the Prime Minister, are, and I'll just choose a few because it's a long list: inclusive and sustainable growth, lifestyle for environment, women's empowerment, digital public infrastructure, and technology-enabled sort of development in health, agriculture, education, and commerce, and so forth. So these are all very big themes which, and India is in a position to really contribute a lot to each of them. We also inherit the responsibility from the previous versions of G20, and there's an opportunity to solidify the journey of the G20 movement till 2030 and for the SDGs. Sort of borrowing from Indian philosophy and culture, I think the operative acronym for our philosophy is Vasudhaiva Kutumbam, which is really about the world is our family, one earth, one family, one future. And I think that is, I can clearly see that in what is driving a lot of the policies and initiatives. Amitabh Kanth had published an article just on the day before he took over presidency on 1st of December. And it was, I would say, rather optimistically, but also rather cheekily, called India Today, Tomorrow the World. He listed sort of past successes of G20 and promised that India, on its part, is prepared to deliver an inclusive, ambitious, and action-oriented presidency. It will ensure continuity of the past decisions and also initiate new ideas and discussions. So as I now continue the fireside chat, I'm going to quiz him on this promise that he made to the world in terms of what is India's presidency going to be like.